Okay.
Sin City Sportscast.
Sin City Sportscast episode
Trace.
3.
It's been about a week.
Yeah, pretty close to that.
We got about 5-6 games to cover.
Yeah. There's been a lot that's been going on in the league for sure.
So I guess we'll start with the NBA Finals. The last time we talked with you guys, Game 2 had just ended, so the series had been tied up. A lot's happened since then.
Clearly, yeah.
Game 3 with no Clay. Steph Curry showed up for the first time in the series, and
The only time in the series so far. Yeah.
The rest of the team.
Probably the only time in the last
So
2 or 3 rounds of the playoffs.
That's foul.
Hey.
He had 47 points, 8 boards, 7 assists, 2 steals.
And an L to top it all off.
The rest of the starters had 36 points.
Yeah. I mean,
so
that's what we were
expecting.
For people that watch basketball and know how players that are great are supposed to play, you were expecting him to be the only guy on the team that's coming out and scoring points. I mean, it's like even when Kyrie was by himself on Cleveland, he would come out every night, put on a show. He would just grind it out during the season. He probably wasn't putting up these numbers because he's not as good as Steph Curry, but
he was also a lot younger.
Yeah, he was a lot younger.
He was a rookie and a sophomore.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always result in a win. Obviously, LeBron had to deal with that a lot through the last few playoffs.
That's what everybody was saying pretty much, is that LeBron's been doing this for years, and that's nothing new.
I feel like Steph gets a lot of credit when KD doesn't show up because you always hear the record when Kevin Durant's not there versus when Steph's not there. But you got to remember, in 90% of those games, Klay's there.
Yeah. This
was the first time Steph didn't have KD. He didn't have Klay. Kevin Looney wasn't in the game, so he had Draymond pretty much and like a half-healthy Boogie or a fraction of what Boogie used to be.
I mean, even a fully healthy Boogie now is a fraction of what he used to be.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I don't think we've seen him come out on the Warriors yet. I think the highest point outage he's had is like 25 points.
Well, yeah, because he doesn't have the same opportunity that he had in New Orleans. He was the number one option in New Orleans.
I haven't seen him enough put out a showing to show that he can score.
I wasn't worried when he initially got traded because he doesn't fit the system. I don't know what Golden State was thinking. I get it,
but I don't at the same time.
But it just doesn't fit your system.
I get it that you signed him for a vet min. Yeah, and you're
it was
getting
just
an all-star
to see if it would
for
work.
$5. You know?
It was to see if it would work. But you should have known, especially if you're Bob Myers in the front office and Steve Kerr and all that. You got to know that's just not going to work. You guys move the ball quick. You guys, Boogie just doesn't. Kevin Durant fit into that system beautifully.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant is what
catch and shoot and score.
Literally, Kevin Durant is what made them the dynasty they are. So I didn't get Boogie, but understandable. Kawhi played a great game in Game 3, 30 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. All 5 starters on Toronto had over 17 points. Yeah. So that's gonna equal a dub.
What I've been telling you the whole series is that Kawhi is playing good games and then below average games, but the entire Raptors team, they have not put out their best showing yet. I
think Game 3 was their best showing.
I'm telling you, it's not. Kawhi is not shooting as consistently as he should be. And honestly, I feel like they could be getting more assists as a team. I feel like they could be scoring more. The Raptors could be putting up 120 points against the Warriors with how consistent they are in getting to the basket and getting shot opportunities. They're not turning the ball over a whole lot. And in the games that they do turn the ball over a lot, like last game, Kawhi had 6 turnovers in the first half last game.
Game 5?
Yes, last night.
Also, I thought it was very interesting last night. We'll touch on Game 4 a little before we go to Game 5. But last night, the Warriors had 10 more threes than the Raptors, and they beat them by 1 point.
Yeah.
You have 30 more points scored than them on the three-point range, and you let them
do that.
They were ahead with a minute and a half to go.
Oh, yeah. No, for
Steph Curry and Klay don't hit those shots down the stretch. Game's over, series is over.
But the Warriors without KD they can't beat the Raptors because they are getting so many points off the 3 ball and missing so many opportunities.
They're just making these dumb turnovers. That's the word. I think an announcer said it last night. I don't know what stream I was watching, so I'm not sure who it was. Yeah. But he said the Warriors at their best are making every 3. You saw the Warriors in their prime for the first 6 minutes of that game. The first 6 minutes of that game, it
They're
looked
5
like
for
the
5
series
from
was
3.
over.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And they were down 3-1, but it still looked like the series was over.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant hit his first 2 big shots.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you had Clay,
But
Steph,
then-
and KD all hitting threes in the
but then
first
the
2
next
minutes
6
of the game.
minutes was ugly turnover after ugly turnover, stupid possessions. They're literally dribbling the ball. They're putting the ball in Marc Gasol's hand. I don't know how many steals Marc Gasol had last night, but half of them, the players were putting it right in his hands. Game 4 was... I was surprised to see Toronto take both games at Oracle.
Yeah.
Because Oracle is such a...
Insane place to play.
well,
in.
yeah,
And then in playoff mode, it's crazy.
It's
and
a
then
whole
in
different
finals
breed.
mode,
Yeah, it's a whole different breed.
I think wasn't that 2 of their only 3 losses at home were those 2?
I think the only other team that's beaten them twice at home in the last 10 years in the playoffs finals was probably the Cavs when they did it in 2016.
Yeah, whatever year that was.
Game
Kyrie
5 and
shot,
7 they took at Oracle.
I saw like a dialogue between Nick Nurse and Kawhi in one of the locker rooms after Game 3.
Oh yeah, I
And
saw
he
that.
was like, Nick Nurse was like, all right, we got one. We're happy. We
Just
did.
take
Yeah,
one.
we just take one. We did what we need to do in Oracle. Let's go back home. And Kawhi's like fuck that shit. We're taking both. We're taking 2.
Yeah, he said F that.
And
Let's take both. And they took both, so props
Oh,
to
yeah,
them.
for sure.
Steph and Clay both had an okay game 4. They had 27 and 28. Boogie slacked hard. That's going to be your... We can talk about Boogie once we get to Game 5 because the mistakes he made in the last 2 minutes of the game last night almost cost Golden State the game.
Yeah.
So going on last night, I'm going to touch on it first. Prayers, thoughts, anything I could possibly give to Kevin Durant. That poor man. He was rushed back, for sure, but Bob Myers said it after the game. It was a collaborative effort. It's not like the Warriors pushed him and it was a Kawhi instance where KD was like, I'm really not ready because we know KD. KD wouldn't have played if he didn't think he was ready.
Yeah. I mean, granted, I'm sure he wanted to get out there.
Well, that's
too.
what I'm saying is that.
And I'm sure what he was waiting for. I mean, honestly, because the Warriors players were like even saying after
Game
four,
4,
yeah, they were like, why didn't you play?
Yeah. So to hear that from your own players, that's
Yeah.
just like, I don't know. Golden State has not treated Kevin Durant as well as I thought they would.
I don't even think it's Golden State. Well, I mean, I think it's the fans. I think it's Draymond. From everything I've seen, Steph and KD, like in all the back room, like photos or videos of them, they're like best friends.
I think Clay and KD are a lot more tight because, like, as
I'm
stupid
sure-
as this is
yeah.
to say, in that dumb video that surfaced of KD doing that dance move last night,
Yeah.
everyone surrounding him, Steph's not in that.
Yeah.
Steph was off to the side. I think,
I'm sure.
honestly, Steph and KD have a little bit of a power struggle. Not to say
Really?
they're not friends and not buddies off the court.
Because Steph and Iggy walked KD back to the locker room after he got injured. They like
the first time or last night?
no last night.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's like bad blood or anything, and I think they can coexist on the same team. But I definitely think when KD came in, Steph took it a little bit to heart.
Yeah,
and that's
maybe.
like that's hard to adjust to. So, the bench came up big for the Warriors last night. Quinn Cook hit his only shot late in the game.
Literally. I wouldn't even say they came up big. I feel like they just did what they were supposed to do, which was not have an insane amount of turnovers and then maybe hit a couple shots while the starters get a rest.
Yeah,
Boogie is probably the only guy on the team that's not a starter that's just like, yeah,
floating.
he's floating. He can if he plays really well and if he's putting up a 25 point game, that's make or break for the W.
He played great early in the fourth, and then once it hit late fourth, it got ugly. Kawhi only had 26 last night. He shot 9 of 24. That was probably his worst game in the finals.
And like I've been saying,
He's not going to do that.
He hasn't been
Yeah.
playing like he started the entire playoffs with. He started the whole playoff series
Insane.
shooting 60% from the field for like the entire first round.
Well, Clay's probably the best guy he's had on him all playoffs.
I mean,
Clay's
yeah,
an amazing defender.
But they're rotating on everything because the Raptors can shoot kind of like the Warriors can shoot. Maybe not obviously.
yeah,
to
but
the
Clay's
same extent.
taking him.
So they're rotating.
Clay's
And he's
taking
getting
him
mismatches.
75, 80% of the time.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and he's getting mismatches and he's scoring off those mismatches. It's not hard.
Yeah,
Like there were a lot of plays last night where I saw a boogie on Kyle Lowry.
yeah.
And why that's happening at the top of the key. And Kyle Lowry blew by him 90% of the time, missed half the time.
The thing is, the Raptors are just the same thing with the Blazers. They're falling into this trap. where they're just turning over the ball and not completing their passes. You'll see plays where they're getting the rotations. The Raptors, when they have the ball on offense, they're getting rotations. They get the Warriors moving. They get the ball into the paint, and they're trying to dish it off or kick it out. They're turning over the ball.
Well, you saw last night, Kyle Lowry, I think it was with like 1:45 to go or 1:30 or something, dribbled down. 24 seconds goes by on the shot clock, and he's in the paint panicking, threw it over half court.
Yeah.
So that's either a half court violation, and that's it. You just wasted your entire offensive possession. Yeah. But I feel the same way at the Dubs when Curry dribbles the ball at the top until there's 6 seconds left in the shot clock. Mm-hmm. Why did you just wasted all the time?
Yeah.
You know, with Game 6 being at Oracle, I see the Warriors taking it. I don't see them losing all 3 home games in the series. That would be now that's a whole different.
Yeah.
I can see Toronto taking the series in 7, especially with no KD, because there's zero chance KD is coming back.
Yeah.
KD's done for the season. He'll probably be done for a big portion of the start.
We were just talking that he'll probably be done until late All-Star break.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about him, and we'll talk a little bit about Anthony Davis, because there's been a few updates on him right after we touch on Game 6. I see the Warriors taking Game 6 just because it's at Oracle, nothing else, unless Kawhi shows up.
Which I think he will.
Time.
I think this is the game where he's like.
No, I think he'll ball out in Game 7, but I think they'll rest in Game 6.
I was about to say that if the Raps can't finish it in Oracle, I don't think they'll be able to finish it in Toronto.
Wow.
But
they almost took last night, so I'm not worried about the thought of them
there's
taking.
It's going to be hard, man. It's going to be a good series, but it's just like either game can go either way, literally based off of every single play.
Yeah.
Every play.
Every call, every play.
Everything matters. Because no games have been like a huge blowout.
Last night, well, the first few weren't. The Raptors wins were by like 10 points.
I know, but
so
a lot of that
last night was probably the closest game we have seen all series. So, yeah, Game 6, I would expect a big game from Kawhi, and I'd expect a big game from Klay.
Clay's a thug, man. Klay is so good at basketball. He just does what
Klay is so good at basketball.
He just does
exactly what you need him to do.
Like, so I hate the Warriors with such a passion. I don't hate Steph. I don't hate Klay. I hate Steve Kerr, and I hate Draymond Green.
Well, Steve Kerr got to be the most overrated coach in all of sports. That man has made zero coaching adjustments this entire finals.
The thing is, like, the Warriors are known for coming out in the third quarter and being that third quarter team where they just kill you and unexpectedly.
Yeah,
and they're like, it's about Steve Kerr's adjustments that he makes.
No.
Well, yeah, it's not about that.
Steph, Klay, and KD getting on fire right after they rested for 15, 20 minutes.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
I don't think that there aren't many adjustments. They might just get a little bit motivated in there and come out and just press you harder, make you try to make the extra pass and turn it over. But I don't see them making huge defensive adjustments. They're not making minute rotations. They're not like changing the structure of what they're working with.
Steve Kerr don't even say anything at halftime.
Yeah,
he just sits there and goes, "All right, boys, so we're down 15."
He's like, "What do y'all want to listen to? You want some more Drake? I can turn up the music a little bit louder. Is that okay? Some hot towels for anybody over there?"
Well, that's the thing is that he gets a lot of crap. But he's the perfect coach. All those players. He's a player coach.
Yeah, for sure.
That's definitely the coach Golden State needs. But he doesn't deserve credit for their success at all.
I wouldn't go out of my way to say that Steve Kerr negates anything or makes the team worse or affects them
he
better.
Doesn't make them worse.
He makes them better for sure because he fits into their scheme and he probably constructed the whole scheme of how they're running their offense. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I don't give him responsibility for progressing Steph or Klay, maybe a little bit, but I think the previous coach, Mark Jackson, I think he was the one that kind of started them as that dynamic duo, as the best scoring backcourt in the league.
Mark Jackson, you also got to remember that Steve Nash works a lot with the Warriors. He's their shooting coach, so you have one of the best offensive assisters ever working with Steph and Klay on a daily basis. They're bound to get better.
Yeah, for sure.
Come on.
So, I mean, they're pretty much doing all the right things, and that's why they're a dynasty,
Touching on KD, all beaten.
Rip, yeah.
He will probably be out.
Late.
News that he traveled to New York surfaced about an hour before we're filming this. So he's traveling to New York to check on the Achilles. If
It's more than likely an ACL tear.
If it's a
if you
tear,
if you saw the video of it,
dude, that
you
was
can see
brutal.
it snap. It was the same way with Kobe. If you watch the Kobe video, the same snapping action in the back of his leg, it's the same
That was
exact
brutal.
thing.
You see it shoot right up.
Yeah.
So he'll probably be out. I'm assuming he's not going to rush it because he just rushed back, hurt himself the game he came back.
Yeah, that's rough, man. We were talking about his free agency actions
So,
for next season.
Best case scenario for him is either a team risks it and signs him for the max.
Yeah, the super max.
Which will probably only be the team that'll risk it. I don't see the Clippers risking it. They were in the playoffs this year. They can't afford it.
I think the only team that would do it, especially after losing the lottery, is the Knicks. There's
Maybe
really
the Nets.
I don't even think the Nets would.
That's the
There's
thing is
other
if the Nets can
prospects that they're going
sign,
for.
if the Nets can sign Kyrie and KD because they have 2 max slots now that they made those moves.
Mm-hmm.
So you sign Kyrie
The Nets just cleared up cap space too, but I
for
think
2.
Yeah.
So you sign Kyrie and KD both to maxes. Kyrie plays the first half of the season, does his thing, then KD comes back. You just got to hope Kyrie can get you in a playoff spot in the East, which isn't hard.
They got to almost a playoff spot.
No, they made the playoffs.
Yeah,
Exactly. They were the 6th.
So they made the playoffs
seed?
this year without either of those two guys.
Yeah.
So granted, you could say the same thing about the Clippers. They made the playoffs. They're going to get bounced in the first round anyways. But, I mean, they had a good shot if they didn't have to play the Warriors.
Yeah.
Imagine the Western Conference if the Warriors did not have KD. If KD stayed in OKC, I mean, the West is insane. You have powerhouse teams just because guys are so good at basketball.
OKC wouldn't have gone anywhere with KD.
Really?
Him and Russ can't play together.
I mean, what about the 3-1 lead that they had on him? That was their...
That they blew?
Yeah, that they
That's
blew.
all I got to say about that.
Hey, listen. That happens.
The Warriors were a great team before they got him. Did they blow a 3-1 lead? Yes.
Yeah.
The OKC was not. They weren't making any moves to structure their team around him.
Yeah.
If they were actively, if the owner and the GM are like, KD, we want to build around you. You're our guy. You're the one.
I'm sure he would have stayed, but I don't think they were doing that.
So
with the Nets this season,
I could see the Nets and Knicks risking it. I also don't think KD wants to really stay in the West. I think he's ready to come East. He's played in the West his entire career.
Yeah.
But I could also see him signing a 1 or 2 year with Golden State. We were just saying
I think 1 year would
for
probably
a
be
stupid amount of money because what they're gonna say is they're gonna say,
sorry,
my
bad, G.
Come play in the new stadium, 1 year.
So we'll give you all the money you want
Because even like
I don't think the Warriors don't offer him the deal that he wants. I think it's just a matter of KD wants to stay there.
Yeah. So, but that's the thing is if you're Kevin Durant and you know you're going to be out at least until the All-Star break because you hurt yourself in the
Finals.
second to last, third to last game of the season.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I have not seen anything or any news that has suggested otherwise that the Warriors did not want to sign him next season. So everything I'm seeing is about the Warriors wanting to
But if you're the Dubs, why would you not want to sign him? Kevin Durant's the best player.
I mean, especially since Klay's not getting a supermax.
Oh yeah,
now
that's
you
true.
have money for that. Everybody thought. Yes.
And they probably don't even
we're
want to
gonna
re-sign
say that
Boogie after
the
this.
league is kind of rigging the system because they're like, okay, if Klay's not eligible for a supermax, then they have an opportunity of keeping the team together.
Yeah, but KD don't want to stay there long term.
I don't know.
There's no way KD signs a supermax with Golden State, and if he does, I will be shocked.
All the stuff I've seen of KD is just him saying, "I'm going to get my bread and I'm going to play basketball." Like I don't think he's
So
as long as he fits in the system and everybody's just cool. The Warriors
That'd be crazy.
They can't get rid of Draymond because as much as I hate him, he is like
Draymond would do.
He fits their scheme exactly how they want.
Draymond
he just
wouldn't
needs
be
to stop being an
successful
idiot.
on any other team.
Exactly, he would not.
He'd be average.
And when I tell people he would struggle to get a starting spot on other teams, people are like, "You're an idiot."
He wouldn't
There's
be a
no
bum,
way.
but he wouldn't be anywhere near. But also, I don't think Klay would do as well in other systems as he does in Golden State. I don't think Klay could be the star of a team.
Well, the thing is just like
Klay hoops, but he can't be a star.
it's their system has guys that are just role players for the roles that they're setting up. Steph's an insane scorer and a shooter. Klay is a spot up shooter
Yeah, but
So
Steph
when
could hoop
defen-
on any team in the
Yeah,
NBA.
yeah, for sure. But you need a guy like that to run the team.
Yeah.
Guys that need help defense, guys that draw second or third defenders on rotations and stuff like that. It's just for ball movement, creating open shots.
It's just setting picks. That's all they do.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like that's why I wanted KD to go to a team, obviously like the Blazers. I mean, that's where I wanted him to go.
Y'all
so
already
bad.
missed out on him.
Yeah, for sure. But
Go back to the draft.
Yeah,
Don't pick Greg Oden.
facts. Big
All right.
facts.
So Anthony Davis has numbered his list of preferred teams down to LA, the Lakers, and the Knicks.
He's going to LA. I literally just saw the betting favorites.
The Pels want the deal done by the 20th of June.
Yeah.
It is.
So it said the
What's
Lakers are minus 500.
Today's the 11th. So you're going to see a deal done with Anthony Davis. They want to make a move before the draft. My only thing, why are you so persistent on leaving?
He just doesn't want to play there anymore.
But why?
That's the same reason KD didn't want to play for OKC anymore. It's just you don't want
But
to
the Pels
play.
have never not said we want to. Like the Pels have done everything in their power to bring pieces to AD. They got Boogie, they got Julius Randle, they got Drew Holiday. They got the number 1 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
What else do you want?
I just don't think it's just about relationships. You know, it's about being around people you want to play with, for sure, and managers you want to be under, and coaches you want to be coached by.
So that's the thing is if you're gonna, I really don't think they're gonna ship him to LA.
I for sure.
Unless LA gives them a crazy. I think
they are going
the
to.
Knicks. They want that pick. They want the 3rd pick.
There's no way.
They want
the Lakers are literally willing to give up everything for AD because they know that's what LeBron wants, and LeBron gets what he wants. And if he don't, then he wants to get traded. You know.
Okay, but how good is LeBron and AD in the West?
Exactly. That's why it's just like
a 5 seed, a 6 seed, a 4 seed.
Play in the
Blazers
West
are
right
better than that team.
if they have a healthy starting 5. Yeah, but that's just because their point guards on the Lakers are.
Because you're gonna have to give up. Well, that's the thing is what gets me is LeBron wants AD so bad.
Yeah.
But Lonzo is the perfect player to play with LeBron.
Yeah. We've said this before. It's just like, but the thing is, they'll probably have to give up.
LeBron likes him, but if I'm the Pels, I don't want.
I think the Pels were asking
Brandon
for
Ingram.
The Pels were asking for.
I want Kuz. I want Josh Hart, and I want Lonzo.
They were asking for a young star. They were asking for an all-star
and
a first-round pick.
That's it.
Or I think they were asking for 2 young players and an all-star. All right. So Bruins and Blues games 5
Last
and
game we
6.
touched on was Game 4. Series was tied up 2-2.
Yeah.
Game 5, Jordan Bennington is a effing stud.
He's a freak of nature. Man.
The first goal that they let up in that game was just poor defense. Game 5 and 6 were both really just 2 amazing games by goalkeepers.
Yeah.
Game 5, Jordan Bennington. I'm curious to see how many saves he had. You want to look it up real quick?
Yeah. He had a lot of saves. He had he stopped the puck from going in the net on more than one occasion.
He had at least 1 save.
Yeah.
For
sure.
NHL.
Okay.
Game 5 was a really boring game, to put it lightly. St. Louis scored early into the second period, and then you didn't get another score until mid-third period after that very, very, very controversial no call.
Yeah.
That was 100% tripping. That's all I got to say to that.
Facts. So this is game
5.
This one's game 4. I bet.
Yeah. If you're a fan of hockey and you can't recognize that was a tripping call,
Yeah, that's whack.
you shouldn't watch the sport. No, you're on the right game, G.
That one's 6. This one's 5 right here.
All right. Yeah, so 5, final score was 2-1. So you really didn't get that great of an offensive showing on either end. Bruins didn't score until late in the third. Jordan Bennington right there. You just scrolled by it. Scroll up.
Oh, yeah, it's right here. 38.
38 saves.
Yeah.
1 goal allowed on 39 shots. He's a stud.
Yeah.
He's going to be the future of the league, if not that franchise. All-Star next year, 100%. He led St. Louis to their first Stanley Cup in his rookie season, so that says a lot about him. And they're going 7.
Yeah, so Game 7's tomorrow night, Wednesday night. It's just going to be a good game,
I'm
honestly.
pissed at work.
Yeah, I don't know, because we've seen Jordan come out and have a couple games where he literally has to get pulled.
Well, he's 21, so he's still like
I get that
he's
for
emotional.
His age, and that makes
he's emotional.
sense.
He's hormonal, and he's still a rookie.
Yeah.
So he's going to make the second goal in game. So Game 5 pretty much is already touched on. That was tripping. There's nothing else to say to that.
Yeah.
But all I got to say is crappy calls happen. You deal with it. You roll with the punches, and you move forward. Yeah. That's not the reason the Bruins lost.
Like the same thing with Vegas. It's like when we had that call against us. I mean, the call happened, but you don't let up 4 goals on the power play.
Like calls are going to happen. Crappy calls are going to happen. Great calls are going to happen. They're going to decide the game down the stretch, but that's never that's not what held you scoreless for 40 minutes.
Like I'm not going to blame that missed tripping call in the last 3 minutes of the game as the reason that the Bruins lost. Well, what happened to the entire 2 periods and half of the third?
But that was tripping. I'm upset the league didn't touch on it post game.
Yeah, because even with the hand pass and even with the Knights call, it was like they touched on it. They said,
you see leagues touching on it all the time.
Wrong call. My bad, G. Sorry, we can't do anything about it anymore.
It happens. Yeah. But that's the only thing I was upset about, is that the league should have really recognized their mistake. And you just don't put those officials in again. Shit happens. Game 6, Tuukka Rask was unbelievable.
Typical, yeah.
The Bruins are 25-1 when Brad Marchand scores for the team, period, in the playoffs. So he scored the first goal.
Yeah. I mean, we're really just in a see.
Game 7 is going to be a dirty, hard-fought game.
If everybody steps up, it's going to be a good game, because you don't want to see Jordan Bennington just have a rough game and just get blown out. Because
I would love to see that as a Bruins fan, but obviously I don't as a sports fan. I want to see a good Game 7. It's really, all it's going to come down to is what the goalkeepers can do.
Yeah.
Because Tuukka and Jordan Bennington have both been absolute insane through this playoffs.
And it's going to be a really aggressive game. So
it's going to be dirty.
These calls
The Blues played dirty in Game 6. Expect them to play 2 times more. There's no other games this season, so you can't get suspended.
Yeah.
You can't get in trouble. It's going to be a dirty game.
It's going to be about the referees picking and choosing what they want to call.
But St. Louis got to be careful. The Bruins' power play is insane.
Yeah.
So if they get themselves in penalty trouble early, like you saw the Bruins, their first goal in Game 6 was off power play.
Yeah.
The Bruins' power play is insane. The way they convert is just, they move the puck so quick. They get so many opportunities. Jordan Bennington, what I've seen, is great off that initial shot. It's those second and third shots that get him.
It's the same
and Rask is kind of the same.
It's exactly the same.
That initial shot is always usually a beautiful save. It's those second ones that you're like, oh. Like as a Bruins fan, that's when I know it's not going to be good, is when the puck is in our defensive zone for more than like a minute and a half.
And it's just stuck in front of net and nobody's tying up.
Get it out.
Yeah. So expect to see
Game 7 is going to be crazy. That's tomorrow night. Game 6 of the Warriors is what? It's today?
Probably Friday, I would say.
Thursday, probably.
Thursday.
It won't go 3 days.
Yeah. So
Thursday at Oracle.
That's
Game
the
7.
last game in Oracle too, so you know for sure it's going to be
the last
crazy.
game at Oracle. Yeah. Game 7's in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
So the Bruins definitely have a slight edge on that.
Yeah.
I mean, both teams have dropped home games, so I don't think that's a for certain.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can expect to see a lot of free agency news coming up. Obviously, we're getting closer.
The next episode will probably be the end. It'll definitely be the end of the NHL season. Curious to see if it'll be the end of the NBA season.
Mm-hmm.
So free agencies. This summer, we're going to touch on a lot of controversial debates.
Injuries, maybe the updates on the KD stuff, trainings for other teams. I mean, the USA games are.
I saw
the
side
training
note
camps this year for the USA team. So that's going to be cool to see.
Side note, the U.S. women's national team won 17-0 today to Thailand. 13.
Yeah, 13-0.
Regardless, 13-0 to Thailand.
Abby,
so shout out to them.
Abby
Wambach?
I think it was Abby. I'm not sure who it was, but scored 5 goals.
That's insanity.
Yeah,
I don't follow soccer.
I don't follow women's soccer,
soccer.
but I follow men's soccer.
So I don't know
for
if that's
sure.
like a mismatch and they just smacked him around, or
I mean, yeah, you kind of. There's a lot
I know the
that
US
people talk
women's team
about
is
with
very good.
women's sports. It's like people are just such haters on
we're not
success.
gonna touch
Yeah,
on
we're not
that.
touching on that, man. People can talk whatever they want.
Athletes are athletes,
yeah, for sure.
whether they're male or female.
Yeah.
It's something I don't do as a job,
Yeah.
so I'm not gonna like.
Yeah.
They don't come into my day job and tell me how to do it, so I'm not gonna tell them how to do it.
Facts.
All right, thank you for watching.
Yeah.
Thank you for the love and support. Follow the Instagram. Follow us on
Absolutely.
SoundCloud.
We'll see you after these crazy games. See ya.